So recently, I found out that someone was getting a comeback or sort of being brought back to life. Someone that I'd almost forgotten about, Voodoo Vince, who came out on the original Xbox a long time ago. You tell us the story. Who was Voodoo Vince and why is he coming back?
Well, I mean, Voodoo Vince, for anyone who, and maybe doesn't remember, and a lot of people don't, was out for the original Xbox. It's a character platformer game centered on Vince, who is a voodoo doll. And he has the kind of interesting twist that you often do bad things to Vince to hurt the monsters around him. And it's set in kind of a spooky southern Louisiana kind of setting. So you have the French Quarter and the cemetery and the bayou. It came out in 2003 on the original Xbox. And never got backwards compatibility, has not been seen for 13 years. And in a weird way, that's almost been a good thing, because I think there's some sentimentality. There are people who grew up with Xbox, and a lot of them have been coming by the booth here at PAX today. And I hear that a lot, like, wow, I grew up with this game, and wow, I never thought I'd see it again. So that's been really awesome to see all the just the happiness and surprise when people get to see the game. I think that's the basic background, just of that stuff. So yeah, because
this sort of character-based platformer is just not really something that we've seen a lot over the last decade or so.
Yeah.
Outside of the sort of the very established franchises that were already there.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, this felt like finding something that was like an old car that's been in a barn and forgotten, and I went and fixed it up and I painted it, and and that's basically what we did here as well. I mean, it feels like it was something I could do personally. It's just a personal project. So it was just myself, a team of about 4 core people, and a few extra, people helping out, some contractors. And it was nice because I could do this like on my own. After my regular job, I'd go home and work on Voodoo Vince. And yeah, I mean, it's like for a small company, for a small team, it's a big undertaking, but it's something that like a large company might not really consider doing. Just renovating something that has just been sitting for 13 years. And yet I feel there are a lot of games out there. There are a lot of really interesting creative games. And I felt like, well, this is my little part I can do to sort of bring back part of the past.
Because it's interesting because this industry has kind of that mentality of sort of throw away and forget about it. Kind of, we're not really good at sort of maintaining things, archiving things. There's a lot of those kind of projects going on, and it is important because in 100 years, these things need to sort of have some sort of staying power.
That's absolutely right. I mean, if you look at other media, I mean, I can watch a movie that was made 100 years ago. I can't play very many games that were made 20 years ago, and I feel like that's kind of part of our shared history. If you look around here at PAX, this is all about the culture of gaming and gamers, and yet, there's that part of our history that isn't necessarily going to move forward in time with us. So I think efforts like this, I really am a big fan of. I'm really excited to play a bunch of the new remasters and other games from the same era that are coming out. Because, yeah, I agree. I think that's something that's often overlooked. Yeah.
As a creator, I can understand that maybe you got a little itchy fingers as well to change some things in the game. Are there any areas that you wanted to touch up?
There are. Mostly it's we did visual upgrades. I mean, we redid, the whole rendering engine's been redone. We did a lot of new texture work, but we were pretty cautious with the geometry, with the gameplay, with the camera and the controls. 13 years of game design, I would like to change everything. Everything. But because, again, it's a small team, it's a personal project, I knew that if I started doing that, I would never finish. So I just started to do a really clean update that plays and feels like the original. And even the visual stuff, we didn't go very heavy on. You can see it behind me here. Those are all new textures, but it's sort of like it's how you think the game looked when you played it 13 years ago. But if you see the original, no, this is different. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you have like do you have a wish to go back to Voodoo Vince and do a sequel, or is that something that has entered your mind?
Oh yeah, of course, I would love to. It's the sort of thing that may or may not be in the future. I mean, I think this is kind of an interesting way to test and see if people like it, see if people respond to it, and if they do, we can see where that goes. I just mostly wanted to bring him back and maybe reintroduce him to some new players and bring him back for the people who remembered him and fondly. So I'll be happy if that's as far as this goes as well.
Well, I know you just announced the release date. What platforms are you targeting for release?
We'll be on Xbox One and Windows 10, and that's Xbox Play Anywhere. So it's cross-buy, cross-save, and the saves will follow you between devices, so you can start playing on your console, and you can continue playing on a laptop or a PC. And we'll also be on Steam as well.
And it's out April sometime?
April 18th. Yeah.
18th. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you very much. Very nice meeting you.